Too sweet!
Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight Garfield. You can find our Twitter @_JD Sports. This week we're going to get into it talking about the NBA. Specifically, we're going to start off with the trade deadline.
Cool. Not a whole lot going on.
No big moves in your eyes?
No, never. Is it ever a situation where there's big moves?
Every now and then. There was names on the block. We talked about it last week. We didn't think anybody was going to trade it. You said about Dwight Howard. We'll get into that in a second. Jeff Green going from Memphis to the Clippers, and then the Clippers trading Stevenson to Memphis. I thought the Clippers and Stevenson didn't make sense in the beginning here, so I think it makes sense that they got rid of him so fast. I like Jeff Green. I think he can be productive and helpful for the Clippers, especially moving forward in a tough West. Mm-hmm. Other than that, though, you were right about Howard.
Other than that, it was a snooze fest, dude.
But do you think Howard didn't get traded because the Rockets felt like they couldn't get enough in return for him, or because teams weren't all that interested in him?
Honestly, I think it's a combination of both. I mean, from what the reports that's coming out is that apparently Houston did get the type of reaction and response that I thought they were going to get.
Yeah, they were shocked. I think that's what I read.
Was I shocked?
No, I wasn't.
I wasn't shocked.
And you said it, but you said it. You were all over that.
I'm not.
He's gonna get a max deal still. He's still gonna get a max deal next year though. By somebody.
I don't know about max deal.
Everyone's getting max deals next year. The cap opens $50 million, and it opens $50 million the year after. The max deals are gonna be handed out left and right next year.
I don't know if he's getting a max deal.
He'll get a max deal.
To me.
While does he deserve a max deal? I don't know because he doesn't put the effort in for a max deal. But he has the talent for a max deal. He's gonna get a max deal.
No.
Whether I agree, Chris Bosh got a max deal. He's getting a max deal.
Chris Bosh acts like he cares.
that doesn't.
That's a big difference.
While I agree, it doesn't really. His talent level isn't where Dwight is, and the people will always somebody will overpay him. Promise you that.
I mean,
he's gonna get a max deal.
I mean, I can make the argument that Chris Bosh was overpaid, which I would agree with.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, shout out to Chris Bosh. I mean, apparently
he's one of my favorite players in the league, even though we're saying that.
No, I'm saying time out. Apparently, he had another setback with his blood clot situation.
Yep.
Shout out to Chris Bosh. Hopefully, he can come back from this situation. Apparently, he's out until.
He's got to put himself forward and himself first. So.
Absolutely,
take care of it.
I know somebody that has a blood clot situation. And it's a scary situation. It's very eye opening, especially when you're a professional athlete. Who knows? Is he ever going to get back to the situation where he was a perennial all-star?
Right.
Who knows? But I mean, at this point, he needs to focus on his health. So hopefully, he can get that squared away. As far as Dwight Howard getting the type of money that people thought Chris Bosh was going to get,
right.
At this rate, I don't know, because we got to look at his health, we got to look at his motivation, we got to look at his productivity. And like what I said last week, he hasn't been Dwight Howard since Orlando, in my opinion. In my opinion, this is a clone Dwight Howard. This isn't the actual
I completely
Superman.
Agree. Yeah.
Shaq says hi.
Right. I still think he gets a max deal, like I said, because somebody's gonna do it. Somebody's gonna give him that opportunity. Someone's gonna give him that shot. Whether it's right or wrong, he's gonna get a max deal somewhere. Somebody's gonna go all in him.
Who do you think?
I don't know. As I said, it opens up $50 million next year. I think a lot of teams are gonna be in play. I don't know if it's gonna be any major good teams. It's gonna be teams like maybe the Knicks. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna be in play. I just know there's no way he's not getting a max deal, whether he should or not. You know what I mean? I think
Okay, I need you to define.
He's not a max deal player, but I think few players that are getting max deals are max deal players.
Fair enough. I guess what I'm saying is that define max deal. You're saying he's gonna get
max money. He's gonna get
compared to anybody else on a team that he signs with, or will he be number 2? Because to me, he's like the number 2. He'll sign with. I'm trying to think of a team with a superstar already. But you know what I mean? He's not gonna. To me, he's not gonna sign with a team that already has a max player. He might be number 2.
There's a tap off level, and okay. All of the three that were in Miami when it was Bosh, LeBron, and Wade, none of them had max deals, right? But they could have all had max deals at the same time in that franchise if they wanted to. Some team can pay him a max deal and somebody else a max deal. There's a ceiling to it, and they can both be the two highest paid players on the team. While I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, it's a little different than the NFL because the NFL is more of you know what I'm saying? The NFL is more of a fluctuations goes off by position. This doesn't go by position.
Could he end up in a OKC situation?
Yeah, possibly, because you have to see what happens with Durant's not going to sit here and base off what.
Let's say, okay, I'm saying, when I say OKC situation, I'm saying that hypothetically, Kevin Durant says, I'm going to stay, Russell says, I'm going to stay. So can they get a Dwight Howard? And is that the type of situation that would work for him? Because
expand your mind for a second. The cap opens up $50 million next year. Kevin Durant is a free agent this year. Russell Westbrook is a free agent the year after. Could you imagine like Durant going somewhere like Golden State, San Antonio? They're going to be able to pick where they want to go.
That's a thought.
They're going to be able to pick where they want to go.
Could you imagine?
Everybody's going to be able to pick where they want to go. It's going to be a player-run league for the next 3 years. It's going to be the NHL on steroids.
Yeah. That's a scary situation, though. You bring up Golden State. They're already
stacked.
And everybody's talking about Kevin Durant.
He'd love it.
Oh, my.
Okay, but back to the trade deadline quick, because we have all off-season to talk about those kind of things.
Right.
Nothing was a big splash.
No. Nothing really jumps out to me, really.
I still think, I'm telling you, I really do think the Jeff Green thing is going to make an impact for the Clippers. I don't think it puts them over the top over San Antonio. I don't even know if it makes them beat Oklahoma City, but I think it gives them a better shot in those series.
I'd agree.
And I like him. I think he's a good player. He's a solid player. He's a contributor.
That is the only move that I would say was
helpful to a team.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'm 100% with you. I think Jeff Green will absolutely.
Everything else was underneath moves, though. Everything else was trying to puzzle pieces, because this is how you build for your future. The things that people aren't paying attention to, the things that we're not going to talk about, and that's okay. That's a good thing. That's the NBA needs that because of the eruption that's about to happen in the next 2 years. Yeah. The NBA needs it to be a quiet trade deadline, because no one's going to make a 6 to 12 week run here for the end of the season. No, everybody who's kind of in it is in it, and everybody who's not, they're going to fight for the bottom couple spots, but they know they're not going to fight over the top 4 teams in either conference. The East is obviously, everyone thinks it's a one, guys to lose type thing. So no one needed it so bad that they had to go all in on a Dwight Howard or something like that, and I think that contributed. On top of, like we talked about, the salary cap.
Everybody agrees it's pretty much Cleveland, Golden State, San Antonio. And then everybody else
Oklahoma City has an outside shot.
Right, everybody else
have an outside shot.
Everybody else just kind of falls suit after those 3, so...
Yep, I agree.
I mean, this year, there's no reason to go all in. Let's just wait until the offseason. That's the way all these teams seem to be going about it, so... Yeah. I don't knock it, but at the same time, I would have liked to have seen a little bit of a splash. Real quick, side note. My brother, Marc Gasol, you never get any love, and once again, he was on the talk. Mm-hmm. I just don't understand. The most underrated, disrespected power forward or player that I can think about for the past 3 to 5 years. He was an all-star this year, graded by default because, I think it was Jimmy Butler that was an injury and he went in. But regardless, he's averaging a double-double.
Yes.
And shout out to Mike D'Antoni that's sitting on the sideline somewhere and said that, Powell should be on the bench. Yeah, how'd it work out?
What about...
Shout out to Pau Gasol.
What about his brother, Mark, in the injury? Sad. Unfortunate for the rest of the season.
Apparently he has a foot injury.
Not good.
Oh, that's devastating.
For big men, feet injuries, anything with their feet is not. It's usually look at Yao Ming. I mean, usually he's just the best example, but it happens to so many of them. It just you can go on for days.
It's sad because Memphis is actually one of those teams that
they're always sneaky good because of their defense.
I always had a little bit of respect for. They've been
gritty. Lance Stevenson fits them perfectly too.
You know what they remind me of outside of the fact that they don't win as far as the big games. San Antonio.
Yeah.
Because they're consistent. Yes. They have a system. They stick to what they know. They have this
consistent players.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They have a foundation.
Yes.
And they stick to it, and they're always solid. But unfortunately, it's kind of like the Chicago situation where they hit that plateau, and they're not going to go any further, especially without Mark. As great as I think Big Z is, I don't think they can go nearly as far without Mark because those two.
I agree.
That was the foundation. Those two big men right there. It's unfortunate.
He's a huge part of their system. He's a huge part of what makes them go, what makes them take a step forward. They have those role players in Lance Stevenson coming in. We said he fits them perfectly, but without the 2 big role players, the 2 leaders, it's going to be really hard for them to, especially get over the really difficult West.
It sucks. So, do you think they make the playoffs? Because right now, they're kind of floating around the 5 spot now, but there's also I know Dallas is in that mix. Portland's in that mix.
Yeah.
there's another team I can't think off the top of my head, but also New Orleans is in that mix. Like there's
New Orleans is pretty far
there's
back.
like 3 or 4 or 5 teams that are kind of in this.
The
mix.
West is very difficult, so if they don't stay consistent, but it's just there's not a ton of season left, and I think that they have enough cushion between the 5 and the 8 seed. I mean, I think it's 6-7 games right now, somewhere around there. It's gonna be tough for one of those teams underneath. I think the bottom 2 or 3 seeds might change, but I think that they're
Memphis
safe.
will be in there.
It might be close. They might fall to the 8 seed. I think they have a good opportunity to still make it though.
Fair enough.
They put themselves in good position.
I agree with you. I think they'll still be in the mix, but as far as being a threat in the first round, it's a shame. But as much as I respect Memphis, like I said, but without Marc, to me, it's a wrap.
What about Oklahoma City keeping it in the West, losing to Cleveland? LeBron had a big game. Kevin Love had a big game.
Yeah, really, Kevin Love, really. That was another name that was.
They're getting it together. They're all looking. You know what I mean?
That was another name that. Well, he's not happy. Well, I still say he's not happy, but that was a big name that was out there saying, "Oh, he should be traded," and they kept him.
I mean, yeah.
Then he comes around and
has a
trade
huge game.
deadline.
Cleveland absolutely dominated that third quarter, and that was the difference in that game. LeBron, he can't do that night in and night out. He can't be that consistent because the next night he had 12 points, I think, and off back-to-backs he now have 12 points, I think, 3 of the 4 games off back-to-backs. I think he had 27 in the other one, though, which is interesting. But he's tired. He's an older player. He plays most of their minutes. I think they were only playing with 8 guys or 7 guys for the last. I think it's been 8 guys over the last week and a half. So he's contributing so many more minutes than usual. And he turned the switch on, which he does usually around the All-Star break towards the end of the season. And then in the playoffs, he gets a little harder. He goes a little harder at it. I don't know if you're going to be able to get a LeBron from last finals even because he had to put so much energy and effort into that I think it's affecting him now today. So what is it going to happen when we're getting closer to the playoffs and in the playoffs when he has to switch on a little more? You have to hope obviously K-Love and Kyrie stay healthy, but you got to get a little more from them than you needed last year from them if he is tired like this because he even kind of said it. He was exhausted. He had a little bit of he had a workout right before the game. So he was trying to get his legs flowing, he said. And he said he actually, if he had to do it again, he wouldn't have had the workout. Because, and that's not like LeBron to admit that. You know what I mean? That's the start of a downhill fall for him, which, listen, Father Time catches everybody. Look, you know what I mean?
It's a little early for
It's so, but at the same time, if you look at his, while I'm with you, if you look at his postseason numbers over the last 12 years, it actually adds up to, I think, 5 seasons or 6 seasons. Extra seasons on top of the full seasons. Now, he doesn't play full seasons anymore for that exact reason.
But Mama says hello. Kobe says hello.
He didn't make it to the finals, I think, what is it, 6 years in a row now for LeBron? 6 years in a row he made it to the finals. Do you know how many, that alone I think is 3 seasons. On top of those 4 seasons, 5 seasons that he played.
Kobe says hello.
No, I'm not against it. But look at what happened to Kobe's body.
I don't know right, and I agree. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know.
Kobe has
what I know.
Kobe's played in less playoff games than LeBron. LeBron is 7 years behind him, 8 years behind him. That's impressive. I mean, he has literally entire seasons worth of playoff games. That's bad on a body. That's very bad on a body. That's proven though. That's true. That's stats. That's facts there. What I'm saying is LeBron still has another 4 or 5 years of doing that on top of it, and his body is just starting to break down now. That's kind of more what I'm saying is this is not good because he does have a potential of doing this for 4 or 5 more years. But if his body's breaking down now, that could be the downfall. That could be the start of the downfall. Because look at the Mamba. His body started breaking down. I mean, you can only do that for so long. 2010, 2011, after those runs, after his last title in 2010, he has not been the same because his body just started to kind of deteriorate. He had a great 2011, had a pretty good 2012, 2013, 14, 15, and 16 have just been miserable for Kobe. Not his fault. No, not athletically. No, not athletically. Body-wise, health-wise. He's missed 3 quarters of the last 4 seasons.
I disagree.
This is his last season. No, that's true. He got hurt 20 games in the season twice.
I disagree. I think the Mama's last great season was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right before he broke his Achilles.
Right.
The year before, which was what, 2.5, 3 years ago now.
That was 3 years ago, but the year before that he got hurt. In the last 2 years he got hurt, and this is gonna be. And then unfortunately this is gonna be a bad year for him. But that's Kobe. He needs to go out. He needs to get. Jeter got that applaud. He got that ride. It works for the Lakers. It's good for everybody. Kobe deserves it. So, not against that.
Oh, because you kind of were last week.
No, I'm against how big and bad it was for the All-Star game because we don't. I didn't like it for Jeter either. Listen, when Jeter came up to the plate, I tweeted that day, and he should beam him. He should beam him. He should have hit him right in the shoulder. Get your name on the front page the next day. Getting off the LeBron subject because we're gonna have going into the playoffs to talk about that. What about Anthony Davis? You brought up how the Pelicans are kind of in position, especially now that you have the Grizzlies maybe falling out. You never know what's going on with the Kings organization. Utah's, they just made some deals that could go either way.
Same thing.
So you got Anthony Davis trying to lead his Pelicans team, which is completely inconsistent. Drew Holiday seems to always be hurt, who I like a lot, but just it's not working out for them at the best time. Monty Williams, their assistant coach, his wife passed away last week, so I mean that's affecting them. That's a big
condolences.
Right, absolutely, and it's very sad. Apparently, she was very involved with all the teams that he's been with over the last couple of years, and she was very helpful to players and things of that nature. So, unfortunate and sad, and it's going to take him time to heal. But that's on top of the team. It's very sad. The whole thing is just, it's not good. But Anthony Davis, 59 and 20, was it?
Oh, something like that.
In Detroit on Sunday? I mean, that was impressive. He has the potential to do that.
That's
not night in, night out, but listen, if Dwight Howard put hustle in, is that his numbers? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my point. Now, Anthony Davis can't get discouraged like Dwight Howard did because Dwight Howard led his team to the finals, and then the rest is history. He becomes very discouraged and he stops putting effort forward, which you point out all the time. Anthony Davis out here with less physical attributes, not the same size, just putting in more effort and absolutely dominating that game at least. And he can do that often. Do you think he's going to be able to do that throughout the rest of his career? Not maybe those numbers, but do you think he's like a 25 and 12 a game? Which he had in the first half, by the way.
I'm sorry, you said something about the who? The what? The what? Anyway, Anthony Davis, can he be the...
Like 25 and 12 a night guy.
Which, by the way, that stat that you just laid out, the whatever
59 and 20 in one night.
The last time that happened was Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
And the only other player to do it was,
Chris Webber, I think, is involved in some stat that like it with that. But still, it's very rare. And they're the only two big men. Chris Webber and Shaq and AD are the only two people who do it in the last 20 years. That's what it is.
Oh man, that's incredible.
59.
That's
59 from a big man.
And you know what?
He ain't even shooting threes.
No. Well,
he shoots a little, but that's, you know what I mean? Like, he's not out here Steph Curry hanging out to 59. He's not Allen Iverson at 59. He's doing it the old-fashioned way.
Right. I mean, he's not so much the traditional center in a sense, but I mean, I hear what you're saying. He's more like that Dirk Nowitzki. Like I mean, Dirk shoots threes Anthony shooting at 22 shot or
banking it in.
Yeah.
But a lot
regardless,
around the
rim. But regardless, I hear a lot of talk this week about why isn't Anthony doing this more consistently? Why is this the first time he's doing this? And
second, third year in the league. Second or third year.
Okay, well that's cool. My man's 22.
He's gonna be. I personally. And
he's 22 years old.
Okay.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, he hasn't completely grown into himself. He's still relatively he's lengthy. He's got the length, but he's relatively slim for a center, especially. I like to see him get a little more weight. He's gotten more bulkier than he was in college, but I like to see him gain a little more weight. He doesn't have to look like Shaq out there.
No.
But I want to see him gain an extra 20, 30 pounds, and then, Can
I put it to you this way? In high school, his freshman and sophomore year, he was a point guard. And he had growth spurt, and that's when he became... So he was still finding his way. While he was in the NBA, he was really still only learning how to really play center. He was only playing for 4 years at that point in life.
And he's 22 now.
So he's going to get it. I'm on the side of...
It's scary.
And I knew Steph Curry. I said it before last season. I thought he probably was the best shooter of all time, or at least heading in that direction. Now I think he's the best shooter of all time. But aside from him, and I didn't see it coming until the last 2 years, obviously everybody's now on the train, I thought after LeBron, it was going to be Anthony Davis's league because I truly think he has the athletic ability, physical skills. Right, and no, and listen, I wasn't the first person on that train. I'll be the first one to admit that. Some people, I saw it more and more and more, opened my eyes, and I was like, you know what, he really does have it, and I enjoy watching him play. I think him and Steph are going to be the two guys going down in the future, but he has what it takes athletically. I just, like I said, I know you got upset about the Dwight Howard thing, but at the same time, if like part of that is he was discouraged from losing so much. You talk about the Lions, with Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders before. You know what I mean? Like part of that happens. Whether Dwight he should have looked himself in the mirror and he should have manned up. He put himself in good positions. That's his own fault at this point. But Anthony Davis, if he stays on the right track, keeps around leaders, learns how to lead a team himself, and doesn't get discouraged because they might not even make the playoffs this year, even though they made it on the last game of the season last year because of him. These things are going to happen for him to grow. He'll get there.
Okay, so
he's in the West too. That's a tough thing to learn. You're going up against really hard teams night in and night out.
Yeah.
Losing records though to still, I think it's under 500 to get into the playoffs in the West right now, and that's still kind of an issue.
Right, and exactly. This brings 2 points to me. So number one, do you think that New Orleans is a team that can keep an Anthony Davis? Because I don't. And two, do you think that New Orleans is a disappointment this year? Because like we were just touching base on, right now New Orleans they're not out of the playoff hunt, but they're kind of on the outskirts right now looking in, and they need to really step up their game to get into the playoffs.
Yeah. Like
we just said, Memphis obviously hit a downfall with Marc going down.
Yep.
They still have to face who else? Portland's in there, Dallas. There's another team that I just can't think of off the top of my head, but there's 3 or 4 teams ahead. The Kings, yes. There's 3 or 4 teams ahead of New Orleans. And New Orleans last year, they hit a plateau, and we were like, okay, this year's going to be their year where they're going to be at least competitive. They may not get
maybe.
Right. But right now they're on the outskirts, and it's like they're kind of disappointment. So do you think?
Yeah, I'm
going
to answer
your
your questions
disappointment
backwards because that's the first one I'm going to answer, and that was number 2. I'm going to answer your questions backwards. To that question, are they a disappointment this season? Yes and no. The reason I say no is because they had injuries before the season, and Anthony Davis is now starting to find a stride. And also, if you would have asked me before the season, all of those teams that you just named, the Portlands, Dallases, the Kings, hold on, would you put them in that category? Should they be in the top of that category? Probably, but I wouldn't put them much better than those teams. So
Portland now?
Portland's shocking, but at the same time, Dame Lillard is doing his thing, and they're sneaky good because down low, they have the depth. They have two good centers. That is what is holding them up in the West. Granted, it's the 8th season. It's the 8th seed, and it's a lose. But Dame Lillard and them are doing enough. I'm with you, and I think that they should be on top of that list that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they're on the bottom, yes, they're probably 10 games away from some of these teams, and that in and of itself is a disappointment.
Right.
I look at the injuries. I look at Anthony Davis has to mature as a player because he is only 22 years old. And then
people don't seem to understand that.
What I want to go back to, then you asked, is they a franchise that can keep an Anthony Davis? Unless they start making moves in the next year or two, it's going to be a LeBron situation where he's going to look at them and be like, listen, I have control of you now, and if you don't help me, I'm out. And there's $50 million opening up in the next 2 years. He will find a way out, and he will find a way to get that money, whether it's there or somewhere else.
Right.
In his case, I'm hoping for him, because the way it's not working out, it goes somewhere else. But at the same time, I do like when players get drafted by a team and build with that team and go further.
Yes.
So I'm not against him giving him another year or two, but these players can't wait around long. And as I just said, it's going to be the NHL on steroids. There's only a couple players in the NHL that have been with their team for more than 5 years. It's very rare now in the NHL because of how much the cap has grown and things like that. So
right. I mean, my perspective, I feel like, do I think that they are a disappointment? Yes, absolutely. I feel like they should be in this playoff mix, and the fact that they're on the outskirts right now, as of the All-Star break, it's a disappointment. Yeah. I mean, I understand they had the injuries. Obviously, they had a coaching situation. They switched coaches.
They have to figure it all out, and
they have a lot going on, and I get it. But at the same time, they should be in that mix.
In overall view, I had them in the top 8 going into the season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The fact that they're out of it, and I had them in probably
top 6
from 8. Yeah, from 8 to 5, 8 to 6, somewhere in there is where I would have put them, and they should have been even closer to 4 to 6. And here they are, not even at 8. It is a disappointment in that sense. Right. A lot of things were happening. They have time to get it together. If they come and make the playoffs, I won't look at it as a disappointing season. Even if it is the 8th seed, even if it is the way they did it last year, it's because it would be an impressive thing for them to do from right now forward. You have to look at it like that sometimes.
Right. And I mean, as far as do I think that New Orleans can keep Anthony Davis?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, did he just sign a long-term deal with them?
Yeah, somewhat, but
okay, this is my hope. My hope, for the sake of the league, I hope that he stays, and I hope that he's able. He doesn't have to get like.
It's always good.
He doesn't have to get like a Kevin Durant or a Russell.
Right.
Like he doesn't have to get a big. But I hope that he can at least get something to come his way to get some hope.
He could be the centerpiece.
That would be
You
great.
just got to build around him, which they are probably
I'm all
trying
about
to do. But at the same time, it is a superstar-driven league. He's gonna want to play with another superstar at some point. Chris Paul, which he'll never go back to New Orleans, but something like that. You know.
What I personally love about the NBA is that if you can get a star and you can get him to be committed to a team in a town, and then you can get other players to be committed to that player and that team in that town, then to me that is a recipe for success, and I love that, especially when it's a small market.
Yeah.
Because if Anthony Davis leaves, who's going to go to New Orleans? Nobody.
They weren't doing well before him.
Just like when LeBron left Cleveland, who's going to Cleveland? Exactly.
They got the number 1 mistake twice.
Yeah. And they lucked out with Kyrie, but I mean, he was about to be on the outskirts before, you know.
He was ready.
But point being, like, I think it's healthy for the league. I would love to see him stay there and hopefully see him build a little bit. Be competitive. You don't have to compete for a championship, but at least be a little competitive.
I agree.
He's still young. He's 22, so just stick it out, bro.
Yeah. Well, I think we're on the same page with Anthony Davis. I want to move on to something with the NFL. A little interesting.
We got some football talk.
Sort of.
The No Fun League.
Sort of. So I phrase this to a lot of people when I go to bars or at work or, you know, to my friends like you. Can you name another Patriot that can literally host a party cruise? And this was before this cruise happened, I was saying this. He could host a party cruise.
I'm the cruise expert.
You are. You go on a lot of cruises.
5 of
He's
them.
a huge cruise fan. And he's going to take me, actually. We're going to go on a cruise one of these times. We're going to make that work. But maybe it'll be the Gronk cruise next year, because this guy, okay, outside of Gronk, and we're going to open up this up to every athlete now that I think about it, but we're going to start off with the Patriots. Like, is Bill Belichick sitting there? Did he have, like, LinkedIn to the security cameras, and he just, like, was staring from about 1:30 a.m. till 9 a.m., just staring, watching Gronk's every movement, making sure he wasn't doing, or do you think...
You know why? Because he had his other eye with a black eye. He was there with him. He was on the low down. And when people were asking, what's up with that other eye, and he was like, both teams play hard. Okay,
but I mean, seriously though,
he never answered for that.
Why can
he never answered for
you're
that.
right. You're right. But why can Gronk get away with doing this stuff and nobody else? Not just on the Patriots team, because listen, the Patriots can't even answer a question the wrong way without Belichick having a problem. The Patriots fined Rob Gronkowski for taking pictures in bed with a porn star when he was a rookie. Like, why is this now okay? But why can he host these parties, and not just parties, these cruises?
Cruise.
A party cruise. He called it the Gronk Party Cruise. He brought his whole entire family, and the event didn't start until 1 a.m., I think. The event that he attended did not start till 1 a.m.
Oh my.
He offered, why? Okay, and this is why I want to open it up to any athlete, because name me another athlete that can do this and get away with it. He brought a couple up on stage. I think when they docked ship, he called it Gronk Island, on stage, and at some point he offered this couple $10,000 to have sex in front of the entire audience. They declined, but like, think of it this way: what if they didn't? What if they accepted? This turns into a whole different conversation. Yes, like Gronk is in a lot of trouble. The Patriots are covering some stuff up. Things are going down, which you can't cover it up because ESPN sent a reporter there, a woman reporter there. Thing is just, it is, why is it okay for him and nobody else? If he played quarterback and it was for a different team.
This is such blasphemy.
If he played quarterback and it was for a different team, would this be an issue? Like, Cam Newton, okay, we always talk about Cam Newton. Like, part of it's, we both say it's race sometimes. We both think that part of it's his reaction to his culture, the younger generation.
It doesn't have to be about race.
No.
Think about Manziel. Manziel would have done this.
Okay.
What would have happened?
Right, because it's the position he plays. Is that part of it? Is it the position is because he's not a quarterback? Because if he's a quarterback,
that's part of it.
If he's a quarterback, people are gonna have an issue with this.
I have a couple of answers. Is it part race? Yes.
Yeah. But to not open Pandora's box that we both agree on.
We already spoke about
Yes,
this.
yes. We both agree on that.
We're just being JD Sports about this. We're being real about the situation. Is it part race?
We'll get that off the table, yes.
Is it about part generation? Yes, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's all number one.
Right. The Cam stuff, basically.
Right. Is it part position? Yes, because he's not a quarterback, which I don't understand that situation.
Yeah, we hold tight ends to a lower level.
Right. So, because a lot of people are saying, well, he's not a quarterback, he's held to a different standard. Okay, well, if Des Bryant was doing this, if,
Let's find a different example.
I'm just saying, if Des Bryant was doing this, if there was a Des, if there was
Back to square one.
If there was
Back to square one.
if there was an X Cruise,
No,
an
but
X Cruise. If there was an X Cruise,
Ryan Leaf was looked at as a partier coming out of college. It was an issue. Johnny Manziel was looked at as a partier
if there
coming
was
out
a
of
Johnny
college.
Manziel cruise, if there was a Johnny Manziel cruise, would there be this amount of outrage? And he's a quarterback, which makes it even worse. Would there be this amount of outrage? No, and the answer is no. You know why? Because it's just like Manny Ramirez. We say Manny being Manny. This is Gronk being Gronk. And why is that? Why is it that some people, some players, we say, you know what, that's just who they are, you know, it's their personality, it's expected, it's okay.
Yeah.
But when certain players and certain positions act a certain way, we're like, no, that's not right. But when the Gronks of the world, we're the Mannys of the world, we're the fucking Johnny Manziels of the world, it's, well, you know, it's just their personality, their party atmosphere. This is who they are. It's you know, we don't really agree, but you know, Gronk's just having fun.
Right.
He's a tight end.
Why is it okay?
It's the
You know where I live on
hypocrisy of the American way.
You know where I live on this because
It's fucked up.
You know I'm pro athlete. I'm pro athlete being human. I am pro athlete doing what the athlete wants. So I'm not even mad at Gronk for being able to do this and being the only person in sports that can do this. I love it.
We would love to be on a Gronk cruise.
Let's go. Let's make this happen next year, Gronk. We're in. My thing is, I'm fascinated on why it's celebrated. Like why ESPN is having full-on stories about the Gronk cruise, but Cam Newton's smoking a cigar on a deck at a bar with his friends, and people call it has to be weed. All of a sudden,
Okay.
all of a sudden, it has to be weed.
I never found out. Was it weed or was
No.
it a cigar? It was a cigar.
It's all been denied that it. Listen, there is a shot where it looks like a full-on cigar.
Right.
I'm not saying it
I
can't
saw
be
the
a tight
smoke
weed.
and it looked like. Look, I don't give a fuck, but the point being, why can't he...
Back on it. Okay.
Cam can't smoke a fucking blunt, but Gronk can be out there on a fucking stage
But
in the
not
middle of a
even just
cruise,
that, because
half
if it was
naked,
weed, there
doing
was an
shots
issue. My
with
thing
girls
is-
talking about, I want to sleep with you.
Okay,
That's okay. That's not a problem. We're
Yeah.
not, you know what's fucked up? The sports world isn't even talking about the fact that bitches and shit want to fuck him. They're all talking
They all
about...
talked about how big his junk was.
We're talking as two dudes that just watched actual video footage of the cruise.
Girls saying those things.
We just watched, what? It was a good 10-minute
10,
video?
15 minutes
10
of video
plus.
overall.
Per video, so that was like
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Really, it was more like 20 to 30 minutes
Yeah.
of actual video footage we were watching. Not what ESPN and all those other outlets are showing, but that...
Just like a cruise video of it. It was
Right,
weird.
all the outlets are showing is...
But
Gronk's, he's having a good time, he's
Right.
dancing, he's partying, but we're not seeing...
that's the
all
whole
this-
reason we want to go. I just want to see Gronk like. That's gonna be so fun.
Right, but we're not seeing all this, you know...
He's wild.
And that's cool, that's fine.
And I like that.
Why is it okay for Gronk to be young, single, bachelor, he never causes any problems? Why is it okay for him to be that way, but Cam Newton can't be that way? I can't be that way. You can't be that way. Ronda Rousey can't be that way. If Ronda Rousey fucking did a cruise, would she be a role model?
Well, oh no, if Ronda Rousey did a cruise
no.
and she was talking about trying to get with every guy on the cruise at the same time, bench pressing 4 guys at a time, she'd be called a lot of different names that we can't say on this show.
Same thing with Cam Newton. Same thing with
Yes,
LeBron James.
yes, I completely agree. So
why do we pick and choose? Why?
the hypocrisy of it, and that was a good word on your part. Because as I said, I don't even envy. I sit back and I think it's awesome and good for Gronk and this, that, and the next thing. You know,
Absolutely.
So,
He's single.
It's
He's
just,
singular.
It's
He's
just
single.
fascinates me that people just let that go. But
And that's okay. He's not though.
Cam Newton can't sit at a podium for the amount of time that he's supposed to, be upset about a loss, stand up and walk away, and not even be disrespectful to anybody about it. And he's called a lot of worse bad things. And it's just like, not understanding. We can't separate the athlete from the person. And that... It doesn't make any sense to me, though.
No, it makes zero sense. It's unacceptable. You can't have it both ways.
But when Gronk's out here scoring, like, when Gronk's out here having the last drive of the season like he did against the Broncos, which was probably one of the most impressive drives by a single tight end ever, on him and Brady together. But I mean, Gronk was just making unreal, insane situation catches. It's like not. It's just have fun during the offseason, Gronk. Look what you can do.
Oh, look at him
That
go.
doesn't make,
Look at
I
Gronk
think he's
go.
the best tight end, maybe of all time.
Last year, wasn't he making out with some girl on a pool table or something? Like
It's a problem.
every single
It's not a problem. It's a problem. It's not a problem. I'm not sure.
Look, to me it's not a problem. To you it's not a problem. But our problem is that if it's not a problem for Gronk, then why is it a problem for everybody else to do far less? Every
I go on the
offseason.
other end of it, and I started the conversation before the show with you about that. What were you going to say about every offseason, actually? Because I want to hear that.
Every offseason, it's about what Gronk is doing. It's like, oh, haha, here's Gronk. Look at him.
With his shirt off and stuff like that.
That's what I'm pretty sure last year it was a situation where he was
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm pretty sure he was making out with some girl on a pool table.
Yeah.
And he had his shirt off.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, look at Gronk being Gronk. Why
After the Super Bowl party.
Why is that Gronk being Gronk? Just like Manny being Manny.
During the Super Bowl, yeah, right. I love Manny though, but
So do I.
He's part of what I was gonna say next. When I was telling you when I opened this,
Why
up,
can't it be Cam being Cam?
I don't know. I look at it this way. I grew up always on the side of the athlete. I always grew up. I loved Dale Earnhardt because he was outlandish, said what he wanted to, didn't care what the media said, didn't care what we had to really think about him. I loved Allen Iverson. He's my favorite athlete of all time. There's rules in place because he was so individualized and so personalized that the NBA didn't want that anymore. I like Gronk doing these things. I love Cam doing these things. I just don't know why it was frowned upon when Iverson was doing it, when Dale Earnhardt was doing it. You know, Manny, for a lot of his career, now it became Manny being Manny, but for a lot of his career, until he was considered one of the best left-handed hitters of all time, he was scrutinized a lot early on.
Right.
Pedro Martinez is a good one.
Yes,
These things just don't, I don't get it. And speaking of all this, this is a side topic to what we're talking about. The New York Yankees told their team to act more like Russell Wilson after losses and not like Cam Newton.
What does that mean?
Be like sheep. Be like sheep. Do what we tell you. Don't ruffle feathers. Don't be a human. That's all I see out of that. That's all I see out of that.
What do you say? Be like Earth, Wind, and Fire?
With
all due respect.
My thing was, what did I say? No, because I like Earth, Wind, and Fire. My thing was, what was the next thing out of their mouth? Listen to the music like Russ, like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Don't listen to Future and Jeezy like Cam, because it's going to promote bad things. Come on. You tell him not to act. Listen, I like if CC Sabathia gets rocked for 5 home runs and after the game he's just like, oh, well, you know what? Next week we're going to go out there and try to get him. No. That's not going to work for me on a Tuesday afternoon. It's just not. If I was a Yankees fan, I'd be really angry if he wasn't sitting in there slamming his glove in the dugout. You know what I mean? Walking to the back, frustrated when he talks to the media, taking responsibility, saying no, that was a bad game. No, even if it was one-word answers, I don't care. I like the fact that Cam was passionate and upset about it.
Right. Just be you. Just be.
Yet the Yankees are like, hey, win, lose or draw, guys. Just tell them you had fun.
Yeah. that's the perfect response. Just
tell him you had fun.
Oh shucks.
We'll get him next time.
Oh shucks. We you know what? We just that's that Philly thing.
No, but that's not.
No. That's that thing I always make fun of you about. Oh shucks. Well, we just did the best that we could. It is what it is. Gee golly willikers. We did the best that we could, but it didn't work out. But we're just gonna keep pushing along. Philly.
But that's what the Yankees want their players to talk to the media.
Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. And they flat out came out and said that.
Those exact words. That's where the issue falls.
Be Russell Wilson. With all due respect, nothing against religion whatsoever, but be good, clean, and wholesome religion. Thank God. I'm just thankful. I pray.
Mm-hmm.
That great. 100%. That's all fine and dandy, but at the same time, don't have a personality.
No.
Don't be outside of.
But what about this?
What's accepted.
Why is it? Well, okay, but here's my issue with the Russell Wilson thing. He was bawling his eyes out after that game against the Packers when they won. Isn't that outlandish, over the top? Now it's not, because I love emotion and I love the fact that it brought him to that emotion. People made fun of him for crying and being over the top about it, but it's fine. He was in a big moment. He felt it all hit him at one time. We got to see his exact how he felt about it in that moment. He couldn't hold himself. He couldn't control himself. Why is that okay? because it was in victory? Like, is that the only difference here? Is that the only difference? Because if he cried after a loss like that, he would still be hearing about it daily.
Because he's good, clean, and wholesome. Because he's not flamboyant, he's not arrogant, he's not showboating. It's okay when he does it. Because he's just, no.
Derek Jeter did what Gronk did. Just he did it behind the scenes and he didn't have party with. No, he did it.
He's a little more quiet.
He was a womanizer. Derek Jeter was a womanizer, and I like it.
I'm
Not against Derek Jeter in doing his things that he's doing. He just did it a little more low key.
I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with you, but
I love Jeter.
that's what I was getting at. Is that he was a little more low key. Gronk's just like, here I am, and that's okay. And it goes back to the original point, which was
he literally stumbles in and goes, "Here I am."
my man's out there on the stage on a cruise, and there's video of this. He's out there with the biggest pop artist and rap artist on the planet, out there on the stage doing shots.
He's singing "Ain't No Mountain High Enough" or "Ain't No Mountain Low Enough."
Oh my
with
God.
Waka Flocka Flame.
Really? What if Cam was doing half of that? Half of
He
that.
smokes a cigar and it's an issue.
What would have happened if Cam Newton did half of
What if he was twerking?
What if Cam took his shirt off? He's doing this and it's a problem. No. Gronk's out there, shirt off, fucking sunk glasses, they're lighting up, and he's on the stage just dark.
Red Bull in one hand, bottle of vodka in the other.
Doing shots and like this.
Yeah. Patron, Grey Goose.
Music playing, rap music.
And Bud Light all getting poured into a beer funnel.
Girls
and he's
trying to
just
have
underneath it.
girls trying to sleep with him that are in a relationship, and
Their men are just behind there texting. Their men are just like,
it's just Gronk being Gronk.
That's Gronk. He's having fun.
Oh, he's single. He's a bachelor. But if you and I do that, we're bachelors. We're the same age. We're pieces of shit. If Cam does it, he's a piece of shit.
He's off the. He's blown off the map.
He
does it.
Yeah, he's scum of the earth if he does it. But if Gronk, it's just Gronk being Gronk. And Bill Belichick and the Patriots are just like, it's Gronk. He produces on the football field. And that's what matters. Is that the difference?
Is it because Bill Belichick turns a cheek? Because if Bill Belichick is turning away, if he's turning his face away,
no.
whether people like it or not, they think he's one of the most disciplinary people in the history of football.
No. I was up.
He's a zero tolerance guy, and here he is.
Yeah, I was with that until he got his black eye, and he would have talked about it. I think he's about that life too, but he's kind of low key on it.
He's got a girlfriend.
That's cool.
He's got a girlfriend.
I'm not saying he's
That's
on
my man right there.
Look,
he's probably like Gronk 2.0. He probably taught Gronk all this stuff.
I'm not saying he's like Gronk. I'm saying is he kind of
a little more free flowing than he gets off.
Right. He might be a couple steps down
Yes.
from Gronk, but do I think he's kind of in that era? Yeah. Especially with the black guy that he would answer to, and they all had a party. Then...
Tom Brady wasn't married. Would he have been there?
Yeah. Duh. Would you be there if you were married?
No.
If
I was married to Giselle, absolutely not.
Wow.
Too much temptation, and you're just gonna lose.
Well, at that situation,
you lose.
Well, if
you lose.
Yeah, if you ask Tom, Giselle
loses.
Well, if you ask Tom, Giselle says no. Apparently.
No. Maybe he was on the Gronk cruise then.
I don't know.
One last thing to talk about.
Man.
Still with the NFL.
I feel like
This is actually with the NFL. That was probably the best topic to talk about. This is still with the NFL though. RG3 announced, the Redskins announced that RG3 will not be back. RG3, Robert Griffin III. Yeah, I know.
Who's that?
He's the third string quarterback for the he was the third string quarterback for the Washington Redskins last season.
RG third string?
Yeah, yep. So he is going to get released by the Redskins. He will be with a different team next year. Cowboys?
Backup role?
Possibly Tony Romo. They're going to need a backup.
Cool. I'm not against it.
What
did I say from the gate? What did I say?
No, he's not a bad thing for this situation.
What did I say? I said if RG3 wants to be a backup, I'm all for him being a backup with Dallas Cowboys. In comparison to Johnny Manziel, which at this point he's not going to be.
No, I agree with that.
And I think
before we get the backup,
I think that's a foregone conclusion at this point.
Yes.
So
the two of us both agree that if he was a backup, Dallas is definitely a suitable situation for him. There's probably a couple more situations.
Could he be a starter?
Yes. Here's my thing. This is what I'm going to ask you. Can he be a starter? And if he can, where?
God, who's looking for a quarterback?
I'll give you a team, and I personally, I think he's better suited as a backup. I don't think I never thought he was gonna be good in this league. He had a really great season, and then he ended up getting hurt.
Right. I could name 2 teams, but go ahead.
I'm gonna go with the Rams as an option.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. I would say that would be team number 3 because they're looking for a star and they're going to LA, obviously. Okay, fair enough. I'm cool with that.
Let me try to think of who your other teams would be.
I have 2 others, but that's a very good one. LA, especially because they want Peyton Manning. I don't see that happen, obviously.
No, I think Peyton's done.
LA, they absolutely need to. Rams, they need to go with a player that has a little bit of star power to get asses in seats.
Yep,
So,
I agree.
I'm not against that. I would agree with that.
San Francisco. You have to figure out what they do with Kaepernick first.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what Chip Kelly wants.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
So,
Who are your two teams?
Buffalo.
Oh, Tyrod Taylor, I think, has a spot there, but that's a competitive open slot.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
He can fight for.
Yes,
absolutely. I'm cool with that.
I can see that being.
Rex Ryan would love that.
Ooh.
He likes that kind of situation. He wanted Vic really bad to work. He loved Geno Smith. Tyrod Taylor. RG3 is a better version of all of them. I think Tyrod Taylor is a really good, solid player, though, and he progressed a lot this year. It's his job to lose, but RG3 could definitely be involved in that. Who's your other team?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because I don't think Tyrod is I think he's a solid quarterback, but I don't think he's in a situation where he's an absolute definitely in a circumstance. I think he can absolutely be in a situation where he's competing for a job, especially against RG3.
Yeah.
Number 2, it's a little close to home for you, Philadelphia.
No, I don't think he's going to go to Philly because
Really?
every report I'm reading is Sam Bradford's probably going to sign on a 1-year deal and they're going to draft somebody. No one wants to pay Sam Bradford $40 million for 2 years.
Why not take the risk?
Personally,
there's nothing.
Personally, I never thought RG3 was going to be a quarterback in the league anyway. So as an Eagles fan, I don't want him. But that's up to them. And if he ends up going there and working out, then great, more power to it. But
would you be okay? Well, if he signed and competing for a job, would you be against it? At least competing. He doesn't have to start, but if he was in a position where he was going to compete, whether it was with Sam Bradford or somebody else.
I understand what you're saying. If he has something to offer and he actually truly progresses and goes forward with the Philadelphia Eagles, then no, I wouldn't be, I guess, solely against it. But right now, am I saying they should bring him in? Absolutely not. I don't think the Eagles.
That answers the question.
I think the
then
Eagles.
You're not for it.
Well, no, absolutely not. But I don't know.
You support it if it works out, but if it, I'm saying.
I'm supportive of whatever Peterson does because if Peterson comes out and says, "Hey, we want RG3 as our quarterback," then all right, go for it, man. Like if you think that you can make that work, then great. I personally do not think it can work. Also, the only reason I think you might be on something with the Eagles is because they're going for cheap. They're going to definitely go cheap at the quarterback position. Sam Bradford wants a lot of money. They've already put a lot of money in their defense. They just re-signed Malcolm Jenkins to a huge deal. It's possible. I think the Rams are a better option for him to start, and I like your Bills theory.
Yeah,
I think he should be a backup. Dallas is a good place for him, and then there's just
for a backup, yeah.
But then you could just fall to a bunch of places that he actually could probably work as backup. I think Carolina, he'd be a great backup in that system. Things like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for a backup role, yeah.
That's my point.
I don't know.
Total backup. In my eyes, he should be a backup.
Yeah, but for his ego, I don't think he's going to suit for a backup. Honestly, and honestly, I don't see him doing that.
He took the third string role this year. I don't think he has a choice.
I didn't think he had.
The league is going to dictate what he should do next year.
I think as far as Washington was concerned, he'd have a choice and he just accepted it. I think moving forward, he's absolutely going to try to be a star in the league.
Yes.
So
it's going to be a competitive situation, though. I think, like you just said.
Another team. Do you think he could compete in Minnesota, maybe?
No, because I think that Bridgewater does have it, and they are really excited about it the way he's progressed the last 2 years.
Yeah,
I think over RG3, I don't think they would even try to ruffle the feathers with Bridgewater.
Fair enough. I mean, I think he could. I think RG3 could make it a little interesting. I don't disagree. I think you need to roll Bridgewater.
Yeah.
But I think if they were to get RG3, then he could make it a little interesting.
Your theory on that though, Brett Favre said the best years of his career was when he had to actually compete with Aaron Rodgers because he had to be on his his toes every single way. So bringing somebody in like RG3 that went to the playoffs, had a really good season experience, stood on the sideline with a bunch of different coaching staffs, could stand behind Bridgewater, maybe help him, but RG3's not in the market of helping players right now. He's in the market of trying to get on the field. I don't think he'd try to go there for that reason as well. Like I think he would rather try to go for Buffalo, St. Louis, and then like we said, a bunch of different places if he's going to go be a backup. But the league's going to dictate what he does first.
Right. Maybe
Houston Texans.
Maybe.
I think they're drafting Hackenberg though.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe the Jets. Fitzpatrick's gonna be on his way out. There's
No, Fitzpatrick's definitely getting next year. He had a really good season this year. They'll give him next year.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying. They're going to give
but-
him a leeway of at least one more season. I don't think that season's going to make it or
That's
break
what I'm
it.
saying,
Make him $100 million quarterback the year after or
Right.
anything like that. But I do think he has the next at least 5-10 games as the starter of the
Fair
Jets.
enough. I'm more so thinking I'm more
Long
so trying
term.
to think long term.
Yeah, and that's not a
Which
bad
he-
thought
RG
because they need to do that as well.
Absolutely. I think RG3, to our point, is what we're getting at, is that he has a good 3 to 5 teams that he could potentially start for at least.
And then another 5
Realistically,
to 10
where
that
they
he could be a
could-
backup.
Yeah, absolutely. Realistically, that he could start and
Yes.
make a legit contender,
Yep.
let alone teams that he could just start for, like Cleveland.
I don't think
or
if
like
you start,
Oakland or
yeah,
something.
and I don't think if you started for any of those teams, I don't think you can start for Oakland because Carr's really good. But I don't think he's good enough to go to a contender and get them to the playoffs. I truly don't. He has
It
talent.
depends on the team. We gotta see where he lands,
Yeah,
honestly.
you're right. You're right.
And we can make that assessment later on.
Well, is that it? Anything else to add?
I would love to be on Gronk Cruise. Can we just go on Gronk Cruise?
Well,
Can
I
we
think,
both be a bunch of fucks?
yeah, we're gonna make that attempt next year. We're gonna bring the we'll do some interviews. This will be a journalistic thing for JD Sports.
I think we can get a
Try to get Gronk on the show.
I think we can get a pass, a journalistic pass.
Oh, like so the press passes?
Yes, a press pass.
Oh,
And get Gronk on.
well, we'll holler at him. We'll see.
I
We'll
think-
we'll tweet at him.
I think he'd be about it.
Okay. We'll see. We'll get him on the show.
Absolutely.
But until then, we're just gonna have to keep breaking down the NBA. We'll be back next week. Definitely talking some NBA. I'm sure there will be more to talk about. The NFL always brings up something.
Absolutely.
If not, we'll get into something. We'll figure it out. Thank you for watching JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight Garfield.
Deuces.